We've been talking about being single, and with no co-host, it's not near as fun. We're going to go over the recap of Nathan and Kayla and why it's more fun to have a co-host on a podcast and a husband or a wife. Come on in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Becoming Branches. My name's Adam Cook. Here is Pastor Dustin McKinney. We had some guests on.
We have.
And I have some thoughts, since this is a recap episode of, if you guys remember, Nathan Brown was on talking about being single as a young man, a young Christian man in 2024. My sister-in-law, Kale was last week, what it means to be a young woman in 2024, trying to follow the Lord. And I kind of rewatched them, and here's a couple things that just immediately popped up. Okay. I don't think married people remember being single, especially for me. My gosh, it'll be 16 years in July, and you forget about all the benefits of having a spouse.
Yeah.
And as a single person who's grown, and both Nathan and Kayla are grown, they have jobs, they're doing their everyday life, but just the benefits of what God has put together.
Yeah.
And I could see, I was sitting there making a list in my head, and I got 5 or 6 things down. I'm like, oh my gosh, those all involve Christina. So I guess my question to kind of start things off, if you were to be single and you're 35
yep.
35 years old,
35 years young.
We're going to paint a picture because, like I said, we've both been married for a while.
Married
man. Would you, or do you think you would stay pure? Do you think you would walk that line? Or do you think because you want fulfillment, my gosh, we're adults, and we're built to mingle and to sexualize, and that's what we're made to do. Could you do it? Would you walk that line of...
Oh, man. I have no idea.
Because Kale and Nathan, that's what they're doing. That's
right.
What they're purity is important, and they're trying to walk that line of, hey, I want to respect what God has designed and not do all these things. But I was sitting there thinking last night, man, I don't know if you could just walk that line and just not have that part of your life want to be active.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to think about. So Alexandra's been on a field trip to Washington, D.C.
I did that. You did that when growing up, did you? I was probably 5th grade.
That's what they said. They said it used to be 5th grade. So yeah, it's 8th grade now. But so she's not been home for the last couple nights, and so it's been me and the boys, which has been great. But yeah, there's this huge piece of me that's not there.
Exactly.
And I miss her, and I was just thinking, no offense to any single people, but I'm happy I'm not single. There it really is a blessing to have found somebody, and I can't even, like I said, and you don't really date in junior high, really.
Correct, yeah.
So I had a girlfriend in 7th grade, and then I had Alexandra as a girlfriend in 8th grade, and so I don't know if I've ever even really dated. I don't even know if that was a thing for me. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around. My initial thought is yes, Jesus means everything to me, so I would love to be able to say yes, I would walk that pure line. I would seek after His will. I would have every intention of doing that, but I'm not in that position, so it's hard to say what temptations would come, because I know there's some things that I'm tempted by that others are not, and vice versa. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you have the answer. I'm just saying that as I'm thinking of singleness versus married life, and like I said, going back and watching the 2 episodes, just really thinking, putting my proverbial shoes in Nathan's shoes. Okay, I'm single. I'm at this age. And another thing that popped in my head: fulfillment as a man, I don't think is fully complete until you're the head of the household and you have women and children under your domain. As the head of the household. Again, I'm complementarian. You can go back and watch that. We talked about that. But for me, as a man, a huge chunk, if you will, of my fulfillment as a man is not only relationship with my wife, but being the head of the household. And that is just a puzzle piece that if I didn't have that, I think I wouldn't feel fulfilled as much as a Christian man. Do you agree with that or no?
Well, I think that's a personal thing. I think for you personally, God has designed that piece of you. He's designed that to need to be fulfilled in that way. Where I can see others where he hasn't necessarily called to a life of marriage. They may not have that same calling as you do to be that leader of the household, but even somebody who's not married, I guess technically is still the leader of their household. It's just a household of one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not talking down on people being single. I'm not saying you're any less of a man for being single. Don't misconstrue that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're right. For me, well, so what are some things in your life personally that make you feel like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do as a man?
No, it's a good question. When I think about things God has blessed me with and certain desires that I have, I feel like it's, I don't want to say natural, but when the Spirit gives you a gift, typically it's something that you enjoy and it's something that you're good at. And I really, really love being a dad. I really, really love being a husband. I take those responsibilities seriously. I try to honor God with them. I'm definitely not perfect by any sense of the imagination. But I love being those things, and I can't imagine not being those things.
I totally agree. In fact, just the other day, I was because I've been going through CDL school, which I passed.
Yes, that's big news on Becoming Branches. Adam Cook is now an official CDL driver.
Yep, official. I went to the BMV today and made that official. But so the last couple of weeks, actually with Nathan and Kale, those episodes, I was in trucking school, but to say I'd come home and they would help me go over all these notes I'd have to remember, and they would grab the paper and try to help me because they cared about what was stressing me out, and they cared about, well, Dad, what have you done today? And have you ever been, probably not you, probably me, but if you're under the gun and stress, you kind of snap and you're less gentle as you should be, especially the young ones. I had a few days like that where I was just, I've got to pass this, and I got to study, and I wasn't sleeping well, and if I, all this stuff, and little things that I shouldn't have snapped at, I snapped at. But again, the Lord really spoke to me during those times, and I've said in the past, way back when we were talking about the family episode, we can link that here. I talked about how the Lord uses my kids to really speak to me in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. But my whole point is the value I hold on my kids. Like, if you really stop and think how awesome they are, the kids in our lives and what they mean, and being a dad and what that means, and the lack of fatherhood and what that's doing to this generation. So many people blame so many things on what's wrong with kids and what's wrong with the world. The dad's out of the home. Yeah. And I know that's going a completely different direction.
Well, I think we should go down that direction because it's something that infuriates me. It's something that has plagued America, because we talk about this amazing gift, this amazing blessing of the responsibility of being head of the household. And yes, there are responsibilities that come with it, but so many men see this as a burden, and then they run away from it. And they don't step up to the plate. And we do see the effects of that in our society. We see effects of that in our culture, and it really is, honestly, it's one of the core reasons America is experiencing the downfall that it is. We have a lack of fathers who are not present. We have a lack of fathers who, even if they're present, they allow others to lead the household. They don't take a stand on truth, and they completely remove God from the home. And so, what do you expect going to happen when you're not plugged in the only thing that is going to give you good and blessing in your life? Sin is going to run rampant, and sin has consequences, and we see it in our society today. Which
that takes us all the way back to, this is a hookup culture.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the Nathans of the world and the Kaylas of the world,
who are doing it right.
Exactly. Who say, I want a Christian man, I want a Christian woman, and they don't want the hookup culture. Unfortunately, there's wolves in sheep clothing who Kayla has many times said to me, oh, I'm dating, so-and-so, but found out they weren't really saved, but found out that they, didn't really go to church, but found out. So the lip service is, hey, they see a pretty girl, Kayla comes up to him, well, I'm really into Jesus. Oh, I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. They just, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're gonna say whatever you want them to say.
Yeah.
And it's just the hookup culture, and that's unfortunate for people who honest to God, want to do this right, and it's just unfortunate because it is.
Yeah. Well, and another thing I think that's starting to come out, and this came out of our young families journey group meeting. So actually, our pastor's son, David Stroop, so I'm gonna give him a shout out. I stole this from him. What he said he stole from somebody else, so it all works out. But he was talking about how so many people have interest-based marriages, and so what he means by that is, obviously you want to find someone who has similar interests, but they place everything on that. So instead of finding someone who has similar values, I find someone who has a similar interest.
It's the perfect texture for running. Very low impact on its dry snow so your feet don't get wet.
What have you seen while you've been out running?
It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of other runners and more skiers than runners for sure. I think they've got a little bit of the advantage with the whole stride and glide thing, but it's too nice to not be out here.
And that is not a place where you're going to have firm footing, especially when the storms of life come, that one interest that you tend to share. So like Alexandra and I, we have very different personalities. Alexandra has a different taste in books and movies than I do. Now we still have things that cross over, and so sometimes it's harder for us to connect on something. We have to really work hard at it. We have to really try to find those things that we both really love. I'm a history nerd. She's in Washington, D.C. right now, so I'm hoping maybe she'll come back and she'll be more interested in hey, you want to watch a documentary?
Or she'll never want to talk about it. She's like, I don't want to talk about anything with this.
But there are things though. But I mean, we both love sports and those things. So we do have those things. But we have to work hard to find them, and we still have to work hard at it.
Yeah.
But I love her heart. I love her values. She loves Jesus. She loves our boys. She wants to be an incredible mother. And so those are the things that I would be looking for. And so because when storms come and when it's hard because our interests don't always align, we still have those values. We have Jesus Christ at the core of that. And so I thought that was a good word that David had said, that you need to finding somebody who has those similar values and not just basing it just on the interests.
Because if you base it just off the interests change as you get older.
Yeah.
Some things you're into at 18, you're not going to be into at 40. Not because you're not into it enough, because you're not 18 anymore. You can't do this interesting. Like, you know what, this hurts. I don't know why. So, interest change. Now, some last. So Christine and I are extremely different in movies. Because she likes movies that have to be written extremely well and make sense because she's an author. Shout out to her, Payton City. Kale was lost. Remember that? That was hilarious.
That was awesome. That was such a good scene.
It was funny. Anyway, so she is extremely critical of this didn't arc right, and this didn't do this.
Character development. Yeah, those things all have to do.
Oh yeah, and they're cool too. But I just want to sometimes watch a movie.
I want to laugh, or I want to see explosions.
Yeah. I want my couch to shake. I don't care. She does. She's very quiet. She's very introverted. She likes to draw. She likes her quiet time. She likes and one thing that I like to do is give her those opportunities. Not that I want any of those opportunities.
And so you sound like the introverted, quiet type.
I am. I'm very introverted, very quiet. But to give her that, and it's important to give her that because that's how she recharges. And so I guess as an encouragement, if you're maybe dating someone, you're like, oh man, they're introverted and I'm extroverted, it's okay. And what, Pastor Dustin's not saying that you have to be just completely lined up, but you do have to share some commonality of fun things to do together.
Yeah, well, but I think, first find this person that has the same values as you, who share those common values. Yeah. Don't start with interest and then work to see it. And if you have a couple of values that are out of place, like I would go the other way. Like make sure your values are on the same page, and if your interests are a little bit different, that's okay.
But if you think about it, everyone is building the relationship on the head. They don't start with the foundation. They don't care about the foundation. They want physical first, and then when that rides out, if it didn't work out, I'm done.
Right.
And it's so sad. And I'm not talking about just people who don't want to get married. It's the highest. They did a poll like 18 to 26 now is considered like the lowest percentile of getting married. Like they don't want to get married. Well, 20 years ago, 25 was like prime. Let's get married. We're in our mid 20s.
Yeah,
it's not even. And now people are, if they're going to get married, it's not so like late 30s, and everything's shifted back. And it's just because there's no foundation. People just want the hookup. They want I call it the microwave environment. Everybody wants it now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to just let it how it naturally is. I mean, let's face it, when we're really hungry, you want to throw something in the microwave. You don't want to cook a whole, oh man, 35 minutes in the oven? No way. I'm just going to 3 minutes. Yeah. And so, but everybody knows if you put something in the microwave, it's slimy and it's gross and you should have air fried it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Air fryers are fabulous.
Yeah.
I just air fried some corn dogs. Alexander's gone.
Okay.
So I was like,
wait a minute.
We got to find some things.
Wait a minute. So,
I can take care
here
of
we go. Alexander, so you don't do any cooking at home.
Well, I usually, if it's on the grill, but it hasn't been like grill weather.
It's been in the 60s, man.
And it rained and it was super windy. Dude, give me a break. And so, yeah, I was like, well, let's get some things that maybe are a little bit easier for me.
Corn dogs?
Corn dogs. Something I can throw in the oven. All that good stuff.
Okay.
But I do enjoy baking. So, like, I'll bake cookies.
But did you?
No. We went to Dairy Queen.
So what I'm gathering here is he's taking any shortcut he can. That's what dads do. That's exactly what dads do.
We're having fun.
Yeah, because this what happens. Okay, if you guys don't have any kids yet and you're like, I wonder what my husband will do, this is exactly what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're really 14 all the time. We've just grown up a little bit. But what would we want to do when our parents are gone or our spouse is gone? We're going to get ice cream, pizza rolls, and corn dog. It never changes. And we blame that on the kids, like, oh, this is easier for the kids. No, it's not. We want corn dogs, ice cream, and pizza.
It's so true.
It has nothing to do with our kids.
It was the best corn dog I ever had because it was so crispy because of the air fryer on the outside.
Exactly.
I can feel the heat coming from it in the air. The oil is in the air.
It was beautiful.
It's like, if it wasn't for you children, I'd be having broccoli. No, you wouldn't, Dad. No, you wouldn't. But when our wives come home, it's like the parent came home. It's like,
yeah.
Because if Christina, because sometimes especially when I'm off keto, I jump back on because I had to because, I didn't want to bring out the 4XLs again. But anyway, so if I'm having snacks, so my big thing is cereal. I love cereal. And so Christina's like, let's be done eating by noon. I'm like, no. So anyway, so the kids will come up to me because they know I'm a night snacker. So Christina will be up in her office because I'm giving her that free time. Basically, I just want to go have snacks. I'm like, baby, you go up in your office, you ride, do whatever. I'll even close the door. Yeah, I'll close the door. And then the kids know. So Levi comes up, he kind of looks around. He's like, Dad's going downstairs. And Emma's like, I know what that means. So we go downstairs, man. We're doing Oreos and milk. We're doing Captain Crunch. And we got, so, but if we got to listen.
If you hear footsteps.
Yeah. It's like,
scatter!
Is your mom coming down? So then as she comes down, I like quickly put like asparagus bites up and I put like broccoli and kale. And I'm like,
you just have it in like this little drawer.
It like flips over. Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it just flips over.
Or you just have like crumbs of broccoli to make it look like you just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, so kids and I, that's what we do because dads, they never grow up. Because we need our wives, which is why it's important to not be single.
Yes. The end.
That's it.
That's all we got.
But it is important, guys. And if you are single and you are struggling, guys, you can always leave a comment. We will pray for you. Purity is absolutely key. Being founded on Jesus Christ is absolutely key. Don't give in. Don't cheapen what God has so richly blessed. Marriage is unbelievably awesome, and sex is over here. And yes, that's a part of it. But the relationship, the deep connection, the trust you have, seeing the mother of your children, her giving you children, it is all from God's hands, and God said it is good. Mm-hmm. So just have patience. Don't spoil what God has so richly want to bless you with. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Becoming Branches.
See you next time.